The polls were so wrong, so off with one or two exceptions, that two cable news networks actually projected this outcome only after Senator Obama conceded. So in one case, the candidates were ahead of the projections. Senator Obama with a speech that was, as given previously, as he won the Iowa caucuses, done with the aid of a teleprompter. There's nothing wrong with that. Certainly not those of us in this business who use teleprompters. We can't be critical of that, but it does lend a different tone to things. And I'm wondering, you know, how this matches up as we wait for Senator Clinton, having won tonight, to address her crowd. I wonder how this whole picture matches up to that famous Chicago Tribune headline, Dewey defeats Truman.
I know. I go back further to the Landon prediction based upon telephone calling when they didn't have telephones, regular people. I want to get back to Tom Brokaw just to check up our notes here. You pointed out that the only poll that had anywhere right in terms of predicting this defeat by the man we're looking at right now in the victory for Hillary Clinton was the Suffolk University WHDH poll. That's, of course, our MDC affiliate up here in Boston. Barack Obama was projected to win by 1 point. 1 point in that poll. All the other polls we were looking at averaged about an 8-point advantage for Barack Obama. This one showed him only winning by a point. Now, the problem with that poll was it completely got wrong, that very poll. The Republican side, they predicted Romney to win a substantial victory. He lost. So even the pollsters that were right about the Democratic race, or close to right, were wrong about the other one. Tom, we're going to have to go back and figure out the methodology, I think, on some of these.
Well, you know what I think we're going to have to go back and do?
Yes, sir.
Wait for the voters to make their judgment.
Well, what do we do then? In the days before the balloting, we must stay home then, I guess.
No, we don't stay home. There are reasons to analyze what they're saying. We know from how the people voted today what moved them to vote. We can take a look at that. There are a lot of issues that have not been fully explored during all of this, but we don't have to get in the business of making judgments before the polls have closed and trying to stampede and affect the process. Look, I'm not picking just on us. It's part of the culture in which we live these days. But I think that the people out there are going to begin to make some judgments about us, if they haven't already, if we don't begin to temper that temptation to constantly try to get ahead of what the voters are deciding in many cases, as we learned in New Hampshire, when they went into the polling booth today or in the last 3 days. They were making decisions very late.
You know, Tom, however, there are whole universities that depend almost entirely for their identity, their brand, on their polling operations, whether it's Quinnipiac or Marist or whatever. It seems like so many people depend on getting out an early estimate of what's about to come.
You know, yeah, but I think that's a lot less important than letting this process go forward in the way that it should. I think people probably are not as honest with pollsters when they get called anymore, because they're called constantly, and they do change their minds. We're in a culture now, Chris, in which attention spans are very short, which people make quick decisions and change them equally quickly. So we have to be very careful about that. And what we ought to do is invest in the American people and their wisdom.